All right, it's time for another Weird Wednesday. I don't know. I was going to say something, but it might be considered racist. I don't want it to be racist, though, because it's Thanksgiving week, right? And Thanksgiving is like Native Americans and pilgrims.
Okay.
It's like the gist, right?
Sure.
All right, so I figured in honor of Thanksgiving week, what we're going to do is read some more real-life experiences, but we're talking about skinwalkers.
No!
Yep.
God.
Mother skinwalkers.
I feel like every week you just want to, your goal is to creep me out more than the week before.
I have it written in my diary. Goal this week, freak Jessi out more than last week.
Do you really have a diary?
Pick up milk.
Creep Jessi out.
But no, so and I don't know if that's racially insensitive. I'm sorry. I just, I was like, hey, what kind of paranormal Thanksgiving theme can we do? So I was like, hey, how about some Native American folklore,
I think that makes a lot of sense. And being Native American myself, I am not offended.
You're white as
Well, it might only be like 4%, but it's
there. They say my great-grandma had some Native American in her, but they just always seemed white to me.
Well, I don't claim the white people, okay? I don't, they suck.
You don't claim me?
I don't claim.
I'm white as shit.
I don't claim the white people from back in the day.
I didn't bleep myself out. I'm white as trying to keep it PG for the kids.
You're cool. You're one of the cool ones.
So I'm one of the cool white people?
Yeah.
So if nobody knows what a skinwalker is, do you know exactly what a skinwalker is, like the origin of the story?
The origin of the story, no.
So a brief little history on skinwalkers, and this is very just kind of summarized, but skinwalkers are supposedly like shaman who kind of went over to the dark side. Like they were shaman and they participated in some very dark magic. In particular, some legends say, it involves cannibalism. And then I've heard you had to cannibalize someone that you loved, and then you basically gain the power to shapeshift. Okay. But, skinwalkers aren't just like supposedly spirits per se, but they're like actual people that more or less sold their soul to get these powers. And they, some say they feed off energy. Some say they just flat out kill you for the fun of it. The only way to
cats.
Cats are sadistic.
Yeah.
Everybody loves cats.
I do love cats, but they're
sadistic.
They are.
They kill things just for the fun of it.
They do.
Cats have actually wiped out species of birds. Look it up. There are birds that have went extinct because of cats. Yep. Even though I have 2 cats upstairs. They can suck sometimes.
You have 2?
Yeah, we have 2.
I thought there was only 1.
Nope, there's 2. That's because the other one hides whenever somebody she doesn't know comes in. But no, skinwalkers are basically, that's kind of the gist of them. And then there's different legends. You kill them. If you know their real name and you say it, that'll kill them. Be like, Justin!
How would anybody know, though,
Oh, by the way, we didn't introduce ourselves for any new listeners. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. So I've got some real-life accounts of skinwalker encounters. Apparently, though, the skinwalker encounters are much longer, so I don't know that we'll get to the entire thing, but we'll definitely go over several of them because some of these stories are long. This comes from Ranker.com, Graveyard Shift from Ranker.com. Just want to make sure we give the credit there. But anyways, now that you kind of know, and that's big in Native American folklore, and in fact, some reservations, they say you go on and you talk to the natives there, like because they say talking about skinwalkers attracts them to you, so they won't even they won't even answer your questions. But so this one comes from Redditor Neptune 420. Are you ready?
No, but go for it.
I'm here, so why not? Oh God, I was gonna crack a joke there, but I forget. Sometimes your parents listen. Keep it PG.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the joke when we get off. So this one says, my father owns a small delivery service that operates out of Farmington, New Mexico. We mostly deliver small packages out of the middle of nowhere that are too much of a hassle for the larger delivery companies to bother with. My dad is the only employee, and we have a few pickup trucks and a trailer. One day, we get a delivery out to Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo Reservation, about 2 hours from Farmington. My dad gets the call for the job while he's chilling with his Navajo friend, Travis, and his girlfriend. Travis mentions how he's got family in Window Rock and that he hasn't seen them in ages and suggests, like, hey, let me go with you. So he's down to roll. I was about 6 or 7 at the time, and it was summertime, so Dad decides we'll go down together. He can do his delivery really quick, and then while Travis sees his family, we can go check out the Window Rock, big rock face with a large hole in it that goes to the other side. Pretty cool. We had to we had a convoy in separate trucks since my dad was located down with freight. We decided to bring along some walkie-talkies so we could communicate with each other. And I don't read these beforehand, as you could tell. We spend our time in Window Rock. Everything is generally uneventful, and we start heading home along the old highway with my dad and I in front and Travis and his girlfriend in their truck behind us. I honestly don't remember most of Window Rock, but this next part I can never forget. That's when you know about to get really good.
Buckle up.
Or it could be not good at all. But anyways, we're somewhere on the highway between Window Rock and Gallup, New Mexico. It had just rained earlier in the day, and the road was kind of slick, so we were taking it pretty slow. On the left side of the highway, there is nothing but sandstone cliffs, and on the right, there is a huge field separated from the road by a small barbed wire fence. We crest the top of the hill, and down at the bottom of the hill, we see what appears to be a very large dog sitting back on its hind legs in the middle of the road facing the cliffs. My dad calls over the radio, "Hey, Trav, do you see this big-ass dog?" Trav starts yelling back over the radio, "That is not a dog. Speed up right now and hit it." He sounds almost hysterical. He keeps screaming, "Hit it. You've got to hit it, please. Hit that thing right now." That's what she said. So my dad... So my dad starts to speed up, and as we get a bit closer, I can begin to see it more clearly. It's covered in this brown, wiry, matted hair that appears to have dried blood all over it. It's still facing the cliffs, but the moment our headlights hit it, it turns and looks at us, and it has a face. I don't know how else to describe it other than a mix between a bear and a human's face.
Stop.
It looked twisted and distorted and almost in pain. As we get closer to this thing, we start to realize it's actually f***ing huge. Though it was still sitting on its haunches, it was about shoulder height with the hood of the truck.
Dude.
We get literally inches from hitting it when it lets out this scream that sounds like someone screaming as if their lungs were filled with water, and it leaps backwards towards the field, landing just on our side of the barbed wire fence. Then with another leap, it was gone from sight.
What?
Travis comes over the radio again. "Holy keep driving. We've got to get out of here. We've got to go faster." He kept repeating that last part. "We have to get out of here. We have to go faster," which is what Jeff Goldblum said in the Jurassic Park movie when the T-Rex was behind him.
So maybe
Must go faster.
Maybe
Must
this
go
is
faster.
fake.
I mean,
And they're just trying to.
I'm skeptic.
They're
so
taking notes from Jurassic Park.
Pretty soon it says, I'm not kidding. It says, "Pretty soon we are speeding like crazy." And just see, we are speeding.
We are speeding.
I guess they meant we are speeding like crazy. And so I've seen a few typos in this. Come on, Ranker. Get your together. Pretty soon we're speeding like crazy, and just as we start to come near the outskirts of Gallup, we get pulled over. Travis pulls his truck over with us. Naturally, this makes the cop, a Navajo man himself, very on edge, and he immediately asks why Travis felt the need to pull over as well. Travis says, "We just saw a Skinwalker a few miles back, and it's been following us." The officer immediately turns white, stammers something about a verbal warning, gets in his car, and takes off. We do the same. We didn't see anything else that night, but when we get home, Travis refused to let us leave without taking some kind of Navajo totem thing that was supposed to keep it away.
Good for Travis.
So let's discuss. What do you think? Imagine that.
My. Well, that actually sounds very similar to other Skinwalker encounters that I've read about or heard about. Like something that looks like a huge ass dog, but like not a dog.
That is the most common. I think the ones that freak me out the most are the one about where like they see a deer walking on hind legs, but not like you see deer do every once in a while. Right, like it's legit like natural, like human. Walking. Naturally unnatural.
The fact that it had a human face.
And it said it looked like it was in agony.
Just stop. And the scream like it had water in its lungs or something. What does that even sound like? I can't even
like
hear that.
Chewbacca.
Oh, I can't do it. Nope.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know. But yeah, that
What if they were like Chewbacca?
Wookiees?
You ugly.
Chewbacca, you uglier than the
Chewbacca,
movies.
You a skinwalker? Chewbacca?
But no, that would I don't know, man, especially to be that young. Sometimes young minds though remember things differently.
No.
He said no, it
Nope.
certainly was a skinwalker.
It was. If the story is real, I believe it because like I said, I don't know. It's very similar to other stories.
Have you had any skinwalker encounters? Because some say they can take the form of other people, which would kind of tie into last week's, which was doppelgangers.
I'm just gonna like go ahead and say no. Dude, we shouldn't be talking about this.
It's gonna attract them to us?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they say. But also someone wrote this article, so
I have some anointed oil in my car that, I can
who was it anointed by?
me.
Oh.
I spoke words of wisdom into the bottle.
Did you really?
I did.
And
that's how it works. Manifestation.
So you speak positive words to the oil.
Yeah, and the first thing I said was, I am safe. So it'll keep me safe from the skinwalkers that we're attracting to us.
Like pulls a gun on you and is like, give me your money. You're like, just taking the oil and dumping it on you. Can't mess with me now, buddy. This is anointed oil.
It's powerful.
Damn, I don't know why, but she feels so safe. Damn it. I'll get you next time. Or maybe like when a ghost comes to get you, the oil whispers, I am safe.
Yeah.
Damn it. Damn anointed oil.
That's the idea.
This one right here, again, I haven't read any of these beforehand, but this one right here, just from the title, sounds like it's going to be creepy as It's called Tap Tap at the Window. I really think if I had to think of like a fear, like something that chills me to the bone, it is like somebody tapping on the window and you look and there's a face there.
Oh, you know what though? I hate for the windows like to be open to the, not open as in like cracked, but no shine. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I am cynical to the paranormal, but I am mine's more just real people, but like I know, like we in the South, so somebody goes tap tap tap, and I see a face, blah blah blah.
Exactly. What I was trying to say, my parents' house that I'm living in now, there's no curtains in the room that I'm in.
Like your bedroom?
Yes.
You're kidding me. I can't do that. I can't do that, man.
I have curtains that I need to put up. I just need to do it.
Just hang a blanket or something.
I can't really get, there's just so much, I can't get to the window. Well, I probably could if I tried. But anyway.
I mean, I'm certainly not like this fearless badass, but I will say it's mainly because I'm old. As I get older, I get less scared of things. So things that used to freak me out don't freak me out anymore. Yeah. But one thing I don't think I'll ever not be freaked out by are windows without any kind of covering.
Well, plus at nighttime that makes sense because people can see in, but you can't see out.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So like I can't do that, man. That freaks me out.
Yeah.
You brave.
Well, maybe after this I'll go home and put curtains up.
I definitely thought between the two of us, I was the brave one, but you the one sleeping in a bedroom.
I'm just tired. I'm too tired to worry about it by the time I go to bed.
Yeah, you got some kids, so that gets exhausting. I have one. You have two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's double what I go through.
It doesn't get easier, so just keep that in mind.
Well, you got one that's now old enough to give you attitude. I mean, at your daughter's age, they give you attitude too, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just learning attitude.
The 9-year-old thinks that he's the boss of everybody, so
yep,
he don't got to listen to nothing.
And that's why you whoop his ass, right?
I can't.
You certainly can.
I can't talk about it, though.
Judo chop him.
He'll judo chop me back. Seriously, a few times.
He takes karate, right?
He does. And a few times I've tried to, like, get him quickly, and he blocks it. And I'm like, okay, and then I just start laughing, and it's all good. That's the thing, though. I laugh too much when I get upset with him, and he knows how to make me laugh. So it's like, I guess it's a good thing, though.
He's going to play like a fiddle his whole life.
Well, that's fine.
No, Mom, this isn't my weed. Something funny. And you're like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and he's a smart ass, but he gets it honest. He's very facetious. What's the other word for that? Sarcastic. He's very sarcastic.
Yeah, I have to control my sarcasm at work because, like, when I've only been there a year, and sometimes I say things. I'm sarcastic, and it's like I'll say things, and I think people are taking me seriously, and I'm like, okay, I just don't think they get my sarcasm.
Yeah, well.
So, but here we go, tapping on a window.
Tiptoe by the window, through the window, that's where I'll be.
Keep going, you were killing it.
I don't know the rest. That's what it reminded me of.
All right, so I was a kid when this happened. By the way, this comes to us from Reddit user Navajo_Joe. My uncle and I were finishing up chopping and gathering firewood for my grandmother because it was getting dark. Driving back on a dirt road at around 30 miles per hour, give or take, I had this awful sense of being watched. Before I could turn to look out my window, passenger side, my uncle quickly shouted, "Don't." I completely froze. My heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. Then it completely stopped when I heard a tap on my window.
He just passed away.
My uncle sped up and was loudly praying in my native language. I didn't know what was going on and thought it was over till our truck suddenly dipped from the bed. My uncle then started saying, "Look at me and don't turn away," over and over. Then I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap from the window behind me. It was getting harder for me to breathe, and I wanted to cry. A minute or two passed, and the truck dipped again. My uncle looked around and sighed. It was quiet besides the truck in the road. He looked at me and said, "We will ask your father to do a prayer in the morning so the evil will forget our faces." I remember curling up to the seat and just staring at the radio and watching the time, listening to my uncle sing an old prayer till we got to my grandmother's house. I called my uncle because I had a nightmare that night. We talked about it for a bit, and he said, "I don't see faces." He said, "I didn't see faces, just eyes, like brake lights you see on the road. It watched you." Before hanging up, I tried joking with him about it. "Why don't you just step on the brake when it was on the back?" No laughter, just pause, because it wasn't alone. Oh, that gave me goosebumps. Let me reiterate that because my reading wasn't the best. Sorry, I had some work texts and email come in while I was reading that. So basically, just to reiterate, he was trying to joke with his uncle on the phone about the situation and said, "Why didn't you just step on the brake when it was in the back?" His uncle said, "Because it wasn't alone."
Nope.
Oh, that. That's a whole lot of that. I'm gonna tell you what.
For real, a whole bag of that.
I mean, like, it was next to the window while going down the road.
I'm not okay with any of this.
That freaked me out. Like that one right there gives me the creeps.
I can like envision.
And he said the eyes look like brake lights, like watching him.
I'm not okay.
What do you think the Skinwalkers want? What?
Leap if I know. I don't know.
Oh. You were telling me to mute. Jesse's like, you're like pointing down at the floor, and I'm like,
button.
Is there one under the desk? Say, and I'm out.
Don't look now, but it's there.
It's not alone.
I am not okay over here, Obama.
It's nothing but soundproof wall behind you.
That's what you think.
It is really dark. We need a signal. Just give me like a rock and roll symbol if you want me to bleep it out. Okay. Just like, so then I know that.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna give it whenever I see that. I'm gonna give it one miss. But no, that's some scary right there.
I'm
man. Like,
speechless and terrified.
It's so simple, but so damn freaky.
What do you think they want?
I don't know. It's like, all right, so this is not one of the stories on this list. This was actually from, was it Mortis Media, Swamp Dweller, one of those real popular YouTube channels where they just read supposed real-life encounters. And I think it was actually under doppelgangers. That's how weird it is, right? So we uploaded a video talking about real-life cases of doppelgangers.
Yep.
I've not looked up much on doppelgangers, and if I have, it's not been in a long, long time. Today, one of the videos suggested to me was like 5 real life evil doppel something. But I was listening to it, and this one guy said he was in the woods. So this is like a bonus story for you guys, because this is like a Skinwalker doppelganger combo here. So this guy says he was in the woods. He was a little kid, and all of a sudden he hears someone say his name. He's walking through the woods alone. He said he wasn't like crazy deep in the woods. He was a kid. He just loved to be in the woods.
Yeah.
So he's like, not far from his house, but he's down in the woods, and he hears his name. And he stops because there's something oddly familiar about the voice. He's like, ugh. And of course, also, did someone just really say my name in the middle of the woods? In the
middle of the woods.
So thinking it might not be anything, he kind of keeps walking, and he hears, so let's just say his name was Jack. He hears, "Hey, Jack, turn around." And he realizes it's his voice.
I was going to ask.
It's his voice. He turns around, and there he is. Only he is grinning.
No.
And has like these super sharp looking teeth.
No.
Well, then he starts to chase himself. And he chases himself all the way back to his porch. But
but wait. So he chased the doppelganger.
The doppelganger chased him.
Oh, no.
And then he gets on his porch, and when he stops, when he gets on the porch and turns around at the door, it stops. Like it won't come onto the porch. And I see that's a common theme with paranormal tales, is that like they cannot just come into your home.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
But it stops at the porch and looks like frustrated, disappointed, and then it just like grins and runs off.
Yeah, I bet he was real disappointed.
But I have questions. Like, so what do they, but it ties back into the what do they want? If they want to eat you, why would it have just turned him around? Why didn't it just jump on him and eat him? But that's why part of me thinks, if this were real, they want to feed on your fear and the energy that comes off of they chasing the whole time. That boy was terrified. That was a delicious meal. You know what I mean?
Just remember that, when one tries to get you. Because are there any like stories of this happening where somebody actually dies?
I don't think they'd be around to tell it.
Well, if somebody else was there.
Well, people all the time, someone dies or goes missing and a friend swears it was, and then, they just write it off as they were on drugs.
It's like unexplained.
Oh, yeah, there's hundreds and thousands.
Okay.
Just here in the U.S., people go missing every year.
Yeah.
And there's no explanation, no trace. That's one that I want to do, too, that isn't as much paranormal, but I want to do, like, real-life accounts of, like, just strange disappearances where there's, like, no evidence. Like someone just disappeared into thin air.
That would be a really good one because I have some theories.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we'll save it, though.
I really want to do one, and we're going to get back to the Skinwalkers, I promise. But we're just discussing paranormal things here.
Yeah.
I've got a listener, longtime listener. His name's Derek Patterson.
It's a good name.
It is. It's a strong name.
What's up, Derek Patterson?
But he's really into, like, missing 411. Are you familiar with that?
Nope.
So missing 411 is like how many, and this is going to be its whole own podcast in the next week or two, but it's just where hundreds and thousands of people have went missing in state parks and in very similar circumstances. Yeah. And most of them they usually wind up in places where it's like a kid. They had this one kid one time with a group of people, and he just gets away from them, and they're like, where the is he at? He was just here, and now he's gone. The last reported sighting of him, 2 people were fishing. And now keep in mind, this kid was like your daughter's age. I mean, he was young. Yeah. Not even, he asked these 2 guys fishing, have they seen any bears around here? And they're like, no. So then he keeps going, to which it's like, well, if I saw like a 3-year-old walking alone in the middle of the forest, I'm going to be like, hey, just stay here.
Right.
I'm not going to, I'm sure your parents told you not to mess with strangers, so I'm not going to mess with you, but just chill. Let me call the cops, stay there. Something. I mean, it's a kid. Right. But anyways, unfortunately, they did find his body, but it was like his clothes were on inside out, like his shoes were in great shape. And he was in this like impossible to get to spot. The only theory I can think of is like a mountain lion, but it's more to it than that. But but if you like, when David Paulides, he wrote the book, he tried to get a complete list of missing persons from like whoever runs the state parks. Yeah. And it was like millions of dollars
What?
to get a copy of this list. And they actually acted like they didn't even have one. Like they'd have to compile it.
Well, that's sus.
Yep. But anyways, Missing 411. Check it out, and we're going to podcast about it soon.
Yeah.
But Skinwalkers is kind of a big theme in that, you know. But
did you say his clothes were on inside out?
yeah. Like that's like they had been taken off and put back on inside out. And I mean, I'm talking though, they searched for this kid. This was not like, you know, I mean, like they searched and they looked in the spot where he was found. I mean, it's just.
Where did they find him?
It was just like up on this really high ledge
like
that
somewhere
like
he couldn't have possibly gotten.
no
by
way
himself.
a kid could have gotten it.
Wow.
You've got instances where grown people, like there's several people that sometimes they find the body, sometimes they don't. But it's like people where it's like the person behind them will just all of a sudden, and you got to think, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
I hike by myself, and then sometimes I take people.
Don't go by yourself.
It's hiking and camping is I like camping by myself. That's fun.
Do you like skinwalkers?
Not particularly.
Well, now you're gonna have to be especially aware because you're talking about them.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
I'll give you some anointed oil.
Please say some very positive
some
things to it.
holy water.
But you know, the thing is like it'll be grown men, and it's like, you know, they're hiking, and then the person they'll be talking like you do when you hike, and all of a sudden the person behind them will just stop talking. They turn
They're
around,
just
gone. And they'll find things that's almost sometimes suggests something grabbed them and took them into the sky, like their belongings in their pockets are littered on the ground. So it's some weird happening.
Yeah.
You know, be it serial killers or skinwalkers or murder. I don't know, but it's some weird stuff happening. So I definitely want to. But Derek Patterson actually sent me like 2 of the books, and those are not cheap books.
Can I borrow one?
Oh, I thought you were telling me to hit the bleep button.
No, I didn't do this.
That's true.
I was like,
Oh,
hello.
they're great.
You got 2. I want to read one.
And the guy that writes it does a good job too, because he's not trying to convince you of anything. He's not telling you it's skinwalkers.
I love that.
He's not telling you it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's nothing. He's just telling the
facts,
stories. Yeah, putting the facts out there. You
Yeah.
draw your own
I
conclusion.
really like when people do that.
I do too. They don't feel like there's a narrative. Like
Right.
he's not it's like, I'm here to convince you skinwalkers are taking people in parks.
Yeah.
You know. He's just more like, hey, some weird happening. Here are some similarities.
Yeah.
And I love that. You know, I'm the same as you. I don't like being kind of pushed in a direction.
Yep.
I like the facts. But anyways, moving forward, this one is called Don't Get Off the Bus.
Okay.
All right, from Reddit user, Iron_Jesus. So this one comes to us from Iron Jesus.
Iron Jesus.
I just imagine Jesus with an Iron Man suit.
Oh, I imagine Jesus in like a suit of armor, you know?
Like a knight.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine's cooler. Jesus in an Iron Man suit? How badass would that be? I got the power of technology and God on my side. With me, bro. With me.
I have the power of anime and God on my side.
I love that.
Laylo says that all the time.
I miss Vine.
Oh.
I miss Vine so much.
His new one is oh no, our table, it's broken. But he'll like make it work with whatever situation is going on.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm pretty sure that started out as a Vine, but I could be wrong.
That's a see. I'm pretty up on my Vine knowledge.
Well, maybe it wasn't then. I'm just out of touch.
Well, we're getting old. So.
All
right. So anybody that has been on the Navajo reservation has either probably heard of some creepy things or have experienced some pretty creepy things, namely skinwalkers. I'm going to do this. Every time I say the word skinwalker, I'm going to... All right. I have only seen one. Here is my story. I come from a small town in northern Arizona that's sandwiched between I don't want to say this wrong. I feel like in the day's time, like just mispronouncing something is disrespectful to people. But a Paiute reservation to the north and the U.S.'s largest Navajo reservation to the south. My high school being so small, a 1A high school that has on average 80 students enrolled every year.
Oh, wow.
Wow, we had like 400 in my graduating class.
Yeah.
Always had to travel south about 5 to 10 hours one way to play another school in any sport. This means we traveled a lot on the Navajo reservation. and we usually stayed at hotels when we would head out to play and come home in the morning. But this trip was a little bit different. I remember the basketball coach saying that the school didn't have enough money to put the teams up in a hotel, so we were going to be on the road for a total of about 12 hours.
What?
I was the only male senior to play basketball that season. We had just got done playing our game and headed home on our bus, Big Blue. We were headed out, and it wasn't long, about 2 hours of driving before we'd entered the reservation. By this time, everyone was asleep, with it being about 2 a.m. And when we crossed the reservation's borders, I noticed the bus driver had sped up and was now going about 85 miles per hour. That is really damn fast on a bus.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I thought this was a little weird because he never exceeded the speed limit, at least not in my high school career. For some reason, I couldn't fall asleep like the rest of my teammates, and I just sat on the back of the bus staring out across the desolate desert landscape that was lit up by the full moon. As I looked out, I could see a figure running towards the bus at an angle of pursuit.
No!
And keeping up with the bus.
And it was 85 miles an hour.
85 miles per hour.
It was a werewolf on the full moon.
As the figure got closer, I saw that it was a humanoid form. As a matter of fact, it looked exactly like a human, only that the face was painted half black and half white with glowing eyes. Glowing eyes like a rabbit's eyes reflecting light from a spotlight. I immediately thought, holy crap, it's a Skinwalker. The Skinwalker ran up to the edge of the road and just kept up pace with the bus, hurdling sagebrush and rocks while staring at me.
That is so scary.
After I made eye contact with the thing, I could not look away.
No.
It was as if something was holding my head and eyes in place. The Skinwalker just smiled at me, this inhuman smile that went ear to ear, showing crooked, yellow, pointed teeth. I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was panicking through the whole ordeal. The Skinwalker started to crumple down to all fours. Oh, wait. Still keeping up with the bus.
Nope.
I could see his bones crack and reform. Hair started appearing all over the Skinwalker's body. And in about 3 seconds, it was now a coyote. And it ran off back into the desert out of view.
What?
As soon as it was gone, I ran to the onboard bathroom and puked a mixture of food and blood. Okay, I understand puking, being nervous. But if you got blood in your puke, I don't care if you just saw a Skinwalker or not. Like, you should go see a doctor. I didn't want to tell anybody for fear that they would think I was crazy. I confided in my Navajo friend. She told me that I needed to see the chief, who also happened to be a friend of mine, and get a blessing. I saw him the next school day in the parking lot. He just came up to me and mumbled something in Navajo while waving a feathered scepter-like thing, turned around, got in his truck, and drove away. To this day, I haven't seen another Skinwalker. I'm sure that's getting annoying, so that ends with this story. It might be due to the fact that I moved away from that town and reservation, and if I do have to go south, I go around, way around.
Smart.
That's actually, so up until the tapping on the window thing, the Skinwalker story I've heard that stuck with me the most, that freaked me out, was talking about like these people were getting chased by these coyotes that were keeping up with them, going the speed limit. And then, but these coyotes were chasing them on 2 legs.
What?
So instead of all fours, they were up on 2 legs running like people, but they were coyotes, which sounds terrifying.
No.
But that is a common theme. I mean, you know, that Skinwalkers, aside from having the power supposedly to change form, you know, and some people say they have the power to like hypnotize you. But that seems to be a common theme, is that they are incredibly fast. They can keep up with moving vehicles.
On 2 legs.
That's freaky, right? Like that one.
I feel like I'm gonna just cry right now.
Think so?
Maybe.
Don't do it. Then I'll feel bad.
You should.
People crying makes me feel bad.
No, it's okay, but this is definitely scarier than the doppelgangers. So good job.
Yeah, I didn't find the doppelgangers that scary. I think
they were freaky.
The girlfriend seeing herself sitting at the desk, that was pretty creepy. And there was one more that really freaked me out. But the rest I didn't think were that scary.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why this is so much scarier than that, but it is.
Well, oh man, look at the picture for this one. It's just a coyote.
It looks like a regular animal
dog thing.
But I flinched right before I saw it because I was nervous.
Oh, I will tell you what, to the listeners and to Jessi, y'all are lucky that I said I wasn't going to do that sound effect anymore because
the next one has a lot of it.
It says Skinwalker a lot.
I thought you were going to say 11 times.
So we're going to do this one. I'm kind of skipping around a little bit. This one kind of goes into what I was saying earlier. The title of this tale is Say Their Name and It Will Kill Them.
Okay.
So this is from Redditor Laisha Ninja.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
We live in a rural community on the Navajo reservation. My aunt and her two brothers were home alone while my grandparents had left for the evening to attend a chapter house meeting. They were in the house, and like many people from the reservation, they didn't have any electricity. It had been dark outside for about an hour, and my aunt and my uncles were getting ready for bed. Outside, they heard noises, as if someone was moving things around. My oldest uncle went to look out the front window and saw a figure out by the truck. It was immensely out of the ordinary because the closest neighbor was miles away. Whatever it was, opened the truck door and began to dig through the personal items that my family had left in the vehicle. Skinwalker's trying to steal them radios. That's the thing.
I thought you were saying that like that was a normal thing that they do. And I'm like, why?
The Skinwalkers are coming for your radio. My aunt and uncles were frightened by the sight and knew that they should take action. They took out a rifle and all steadied themselves to hold it up. They flung open the door and aimed. I imagine like little kids.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
We probably had the same thought at the same time. They flung open the door and aimed the gun at the dark figure. The figure turned and started walking towards them.
No.
Totally unafraid of the weapon. It just kept coming.
Because what do skinwalkers have to be afraid of?
My uncle pulled the trigger and nothing happened.
Oh.
The figure drew closer and my aunt began to smell something like a rotting corpse.
No.
It was so strong it made her gag.
Ew.
My uncle continued to pull the trigger with no luck, and the figure came closer and closer. Off in the distance, headlights were coming up on the road. My grandparents were returning. The figure looked towards the lights and started to move away and tucked itself behind a tree near the house. My oldest uncle ran toward the truck with the gun. My grandfather got out of the car and my uncle pointed it at the tree. The thing was poking out its head to observe what we were doing. My grandfather ran into the house and ran over to the stove and grabbed a handful of ashes and rubbed them all over the gun and placed an ash-covered bullet into the chamber. He walked onto the porch and fired towards the tree. Whatever that thing was didn't expect the gun to go off. The gunshot echoed, and the dark figure began running. My grandma chased my aunt inside, and my uncles and my grandfather went after it. There weren't many roads or paths, so as my grandfather and uncles chased after the figure, the truck was bouncing and the headlights were not fixed on a particular spot. My uncle swears that whenever the headlights would hit the figure, he saw a woman. Not only that, whoever it was running on all fours like a bear. My grandfather eventually stopped the truck, and as they neared the ditch that drops off 20 feet, he got out and began to yell in Navajo. My uncle says that he was yelling about a local woman. He yelled that he wasn't scared and that he knew it was her and to leave his family alone. A few days passed, and there was news that the woman my grandfather was yelling out had passed away.
What?
I've always been told that if you know who the Skinwalker is, say their name and it will kill them.
So, hold on, though. Because could she be a skinwalker and still be part of the community?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're shapeshifters.
I thought that they would just, start a whole new life.
They're shapeshifters. And apparently they need something from people. So, yeah, that's sure they definitely probably integrate into different societies.
Well, that's even creepier because they're living amongst us, you know?
What if I'm a skinwalker?
Dude. Don't look. I'm on your good side, okay?
True.
I'm not scared of you.
What if my head just started spinning around?
Oh, I would punch you. I would punch you with my foot. And I would.
That would technically be a kick.
Listen, it would just happen, okay?
I think you're confused on your attacks.
I'm confused on a lot of things right now.
Make sure I didn't change here.
I feel like I'm going to throw up from fear of picturing all of this stuff in my head.
All right, so we got time for one or two more, so let's get it. So this one from Reddit user Navajo_Joe 00.
Wait, didn't we already do a Navajo Joe? Is it the same person, or are they all named Joe?
This one has 2 zeros behind it.
I think.
Or 2 boobs, depending on how you want to look at this.
Depending on how mature they are.
Or how mature I am. So this is my father's story written from his perspective. When I was about 11 or 12, we lived in a small house made of mud and stone. A lot like our house now. It was 2 of my brothers and I in the house. Everyone else had gone to the James feast and left us to tend to the sheep. We were getting ready for bed when we heard the dogs going crazy outside. Thinking it was nothing more than coyotes howling in the distance, we told them to be quiet. We began to drift into sleep, and the dogs would not shut up. Somehow I was able to go to sleep for a few hours. When I woke up very late in the night, it was very quiet and still in the house, save for my brother snoring and breathing. I realized I needed to use the outhouse and woke up my brother to take me there. He teased me about being scared, which I certainly was. We went out with our flashlight to the outhouse. The dogs began with their crazed barking out in the sagebrush, going from one place to the next. My brother went first, and I waited outside for him. While waiting, I tried to follow the dogs with my flashlight. Suddenly, there was a very loud whine from one of the dogs, and everything went quiet again.
No.
It was really too quiet for that time of the year. Not even the sheep were making noises. Suddenly, I heard a few of the dogs going completely mad by the truck. When I looked over, there was this man.
A man.
He was unbelievably tall, leaning one arm onto the cab roof of the truck. He was looking at the dogs for a little and then suddenly kicking one of them.
Oh.
They all scattered in different directions. The thing looked up at me and I saw its face. It had a pure white face like a full moon, 2 burning red eyes, and a slight smile that was pure black.
Why are they all smiling?
Because wouldn't you smile if you were evil and had power and were picking on people?
They don't seem like they're smiling tight, though.
They smile because they take great pleasure in the dismay they're causing.
I guess, and that just adds to the creepiness, too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I could not move or make a sound. It began to walk towards me with long strides until it finally towered over me. As I began to see, it was dark red, like the color of blood when you cut the throat of a sheep.
I don't know what color that is.
That's
but, okay.
oddly specific.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody does that. So as I was saying, I was down there cutting some sheep throats.
You know that color? Do you have that color Crayola?
Oh my gosh.
Sheep's blood.
I kept getting deeper and deeper into its eyes. I could faintly hear my brother coming out of the outhouse. With this, the thing looked up at him. Reality came rushing back to me. I noticed that my brother was too distracted with his buckle to realize what was going on.
With his buckle? Okay.
I also noticed this thing's long hands hovering just inches above my head. Its skin was black ash, and he smelled like a bloated, dead animal in summer. That's another commonality. It talked about, a lot of stories report them running fast. A lot of them report the smell of, rotting flesh.
Maybe it has something to do with the cannibalism aspect.
It could be, yeah, absolutely. I was still unable to move or speak. The Skinwalker began to move toward my brother. Finally noticing this figure, my brother became paralyzed as I was. Closer and closer it drew, reaching an arm out towards my brother's head. Something finally snapped in me, and I became unbearably angry. Like, time to fight back.
Yeah.
I broke from the trance and lunged at the Skinwalker, raising my arms like a wild animal and baring my teeth at it. A growl came out that I never knew I could make. I became more and more angry at the thing that was trying to hurt us. It kept that smile at first, but then the angrier I got, the more the smile faded. Finally, with everything I had, I began to make this primal roar at it.
What?
It fell backward and ran away into the night, looking back at me. Its eyes were dim and dull, its smile now long since gone. The next morning, the family returned home from the feast, and after relaying the story to my parents, they quickly hired a medicine man.
Yeah, do that.
All right, so one of my biggest problems with the story was that, the way they defeated it was basically they hurt its feelings.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty stupid. And an otherwise really cool story. And I know that, we were talking earlier that skinwalkers feed on your fear, so maybe you not being scared of it but like it's like this big bad entity, and it was terrified by a child growling at it.
I don't know, man. That's I don't know. I don't know the like technicalities of it, but it seems like that would be the way to go. Just don't show your fear.
So just growl at this evil
we
entity.
know. Now we know how to deal with them.
No, I that's how you can deal with them.
I'll try and let you know how it
I
goes.
just would prefer not to deal with them at all.
Same, but you know.
But hopefully you enjoyed these Skinwalker stories. There are more, so definitely at some point we'll probably be revisiting some of these different categories as we kind of go around, because it's a lot of paranormal, but at the same time there's not but so much paranormal.
Well, I'm terrified for next week because
it keeps getting scarier and
scarier. It really
scarier.
does, and I don't know how I sleep at night.
The missing 411 is one that I've wanted to do for a long time, but that's one that requires quite a bit of research. Like this, I just kind of browse through the internet until I'll read like one of the stories just to see if they look like they're decent, and if they are, I'll pick that. And if they're
gonna scare the scare the shit out of me. Wrong button, but okay. Okay.
That's also what she said.
A wrong button, but okay.
But I'll go with it.
Okay.
But let us know if you have any requests as far as the category of strange, because it's not just paranormal. I mean, it's Weird Wednesday, so weird phenomena.
Yeah.
Anything that's
weird.
just weird and not normal.
Or if you have any Skinwalker stories.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to start. Yeah. Once we build up a little bit of a audience to this, I really would love to start doing listener submitted stories.
I think we have enough people. How many people do we have?
Like 4.
Okay.
Your dad, your friend Joe Ellen, me, and you.
That's really sad.
I'm a glass half full guy. So I say at least we're not the only two listening to
We'll
it.
get there.
No, I'm just playing. We certainly have more than 4. We got at least like 9. Unless it's just me every time I listen to it.
We have more than double of 4.
It is hard to tally up views, though, because we're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube. So if you look on YouTube and it looks like a lower count, it's like, yeah, but then if you go over to SoundCloud and you've got like double or triple that amount, and then you go to... So, but as we build up a following, I would really like to do some listener-generated stories.
I would love that.
I think that'd be awesome.
I think I'm going to reach out to people and ask.
You should.
I think I'm going to.
You should.
Yeah. We should take stories off of TikTok and read them. Can we have one where I read stories?
Oh, you can read anytime you want.
Okay. Well, since we're here.
Do you want to read next week's?
No. Maybe.
Hence why you're not asked to read these stories.
Listen, I've got a lot going on at the moment. Okay, well, you do too. You have way more than I do, so sorry. I did do some research. I did some research on Mike the Headless Chicken.
Oh, from last week.
Yes.
Talking about the chicken that lived a long time.
On the way here, I listened to a video because I said I was going to. So the reason he was able to stay alive was because he didn't sever the stem. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the thing that connects the brain, but anyway. So that's why. So it still had like kind of some function from the brain, and also the way he fed it was with a eyedropper. Don't scare me.
You see that?
Don't point behind me.
Do you see it?
I see it, but
you see the light flickering?
I did.
That's a brand new light.
Listen,
like that, it stays on 24/7, but it's LED. I mean, they're made to. It's got a little on the air light, and it's flickering.
And he's gonna point behind me like I'm not gonna think it's a.
But it's only doing it in one spot. It's almost like someone's putting their hand over the.
Why?
I mean, that's what it looks like, though, right? It doesn't even look like a light flickering. It looks like someone's covering up part of the light.
And it's right behind me. I don't like. Why? Anyway.
I just like scaring Jessi.
He fed the chicken with an eyedropper, and the reason he kept him alive so long was because he was actually part of a sideshow that traveled around the country. And so he made a lot of money off of it. And the only reason the chicken died was because it would get buildup of fluid in its neck or something, and the guy would get it out with another eyedropper or something like that. And he misplaced the eyedropper at a hotel, and the chicken died because he couldn't get the fluid out of his neck.
So did he chop that chicken's head off just to use it as a sideshow attraction?
No, because how long ago was that? They didn't really know how that kind of.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was an accident. He was gonna sell the chicken, I think. So he chopped the head off, or maybe they were gonna. I think they said he was gonna sell it for meat, and but he just it didn't chop off the stem, the brain stem. Is that what it's called?
If you're wondering what we're talking about exactly on last week's podcast, if you didn't hear that, we were. Oh no, you're fine. We were talking about this chicken that had its head cut off and lived for a long time afterwards.
18 months.
Pretty fascinating.
Which was crazy. And my main question was, how did it eat? But I found out he just fed it with a
dropper.
Yeah, just drop it down in the neck. And I guess you got to find the right tube, though. How did he know? I don't know.
It's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Very little answers. The biggest question of the night is, why is my new sign flickering?
Because you lured the Skinwalker energy in here by talking about it.
It's like every time you say that word, it flickers.
Well, I'm going to go home tonight. My mom's going to be like, so, what'd you guys podcast about? And I'm going to be like, I can't talk about it.
It's like Fight Club.
Yeah.
But paranormal.
Yeah. And I'm going to be like, don't go listen to it, because if you listen to it, make sure it's on the other side of town.
Side note, and then we're wrapping this thing up. Have you ever had any ghost stories at your house?
My
your
parents' house? Only the dog. But when I have ghost dreams, it usually takes place in their bathroom or downstairs near the laundry room.
I was at a house today, at someone's house, and we were downstairs looking at some equipment they wanted to replace. And swear to God, I'm not saying this just for the podcast. This is 100% fact. Put my hand on any book you want me to. He had this chocolate lab, and we went down to the basement, and he said, "Oh, he won't come down here."
Oh.
And I was like, and I joked. I said, that's how every horror movie starts, ain't it? And the dog was just sitting there, kind of whining and looking down. Ugh. And he said, the weird thing is, he said, and he said, look at my basement. There's this big, elaborate, fancy bar set up with mirrors and stuff. He goes, we're not party people. We don't have guests over. We don't utilize. That was there when we bought the house.
Oh.
So apparently the person who lived here was really, But anyways, the person, he said, true story, the person who lived here did die in the house. How did they die? They fell down the steps and died at the bottom of the steps.
That's so scary.
And as I say that light's going crazy.
I'm going to punch it.
Don't punch my light. They might fix it, though. But yeah, he said no kidding. And I kind of joked, right? I'd say I don't have many powers or abilities in life, but I've always been good at reading people.
And dogs.
And dogs, yeah. And I didn't get the sense that he was messing with me. I was like, yeah, okay. And he goes, no, I'm dead serious. He's like, you look it up. I'm sure I could, I'm sure we can find it somewhere. Like the guy who lived here fell down the steps and died at the bottom of the steps.
So,
he was an old guy.
Is the house haunted in any other way other than the dog not going downstairs?
Nope, the dog just refuses to go down the steps.
Well, in my haunted house that I used to live in, my dog would not go in the attic. Would not go up there.
Because you had ghost babies crawling on the ceiling up there.
That's why.
Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed the podcast, subscribe, hit the like button, share it with all of your weird friends, and
send us some stories.
Send us some stories and comment, man. Let us know, what do you want to hear? What do you like? Do you like I like the format of reading.
I do too,
because real life accounts.
I would be reading this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Looking this stuff up and reading it. I don't know about the Skinwalkers. That's too scary. But just ghost stuff in general.
Oh, there's some that I didn't read that definitely. There's one called It Looked Like a Skinwalker, an attack on a party van. A mysterious legend encounters Mormon missionaries. That sounds like something you'd read. That's like a title on Pornhub. A mysterious legend encounters Mormon missionaries.
Wow.
Do you have a moment to talk about? I'm not going to do that. The Yinlund, don't even know how to pronounce that. A coyote walking on two legs.
No, quit it.
Okay, nope. I'm sorry. You thought the podcast was over. It's not. This is a short story, and then we are for real wrapping up because I've got to go to the gym.
I hope you know that you're going to have to walk me all the way to my car.
That's a no. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
I'm going to have to take your dog with me then.
That's a no from me, dog.
What the heck? Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it.
So, all right, this one. This is the final, a bonus, an encore story. If people tuned out thinking it was over, well, they missed out. Anyways, from Redditor Indulus, I was told this story once. My dad isn't a bullshitter or a liar, so I know the story's got to be true. So this was the very early 80s, and my sister, who lived in Toronto, came down to visit our parents for a weekend. She was staying at a friend's house who loaned her a car so she could come out. After her visit, she left a little after 9 p.m. She got maybe 7 or 8 miles away when the car broke down.
No.
Damn, that sucks. Thankfully, she broke down in front of a friend of the family's house. They let her in to call her dad, and Dad came to get her, and the family said she could leave the car in their driveway for the night, and my sister decided to just stay at my parents'. It was now a little after 10 o'clock and pitch black, late November. Pretty much where we are now. While my sister and dad are driving back to the house, they pass through a heavily wooded area. Out of nowhere, they hear this incredibly loud, inhuman scream that was heard over the engine, them talking, and the radio. Dad slammed on the brakes, and they both started freaking out when suddenly a 6-foot-tall coyote walking on 2 legs with a black and white striped tail appeared on the side of the road and proceeded to walk in front of the car. Man,
that's not a coyote.
I don't like that. As soon as it passed, the same scream played again, only this time louder.
What?
Dad slammed on the accelerator, and they got the out of there.
What's up with the tail, the black and white tail? And then, like, one of the stories had a black and white face.
Yep.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I don't like anything about it.
But you do see some recurring themes in the Skinwalker stories. Black and white.
Walking on the hind legs.
Running as fast as the vehicle. It's freaky nonetheless. I mean, even if it is just fictionally written stories, it's definitely got some creep factor to it.
I don't think it's fiction. Honestly. No, I mean, I think skinwalkers are definitely real, but some of these stories might not be, but I think they're definitely real.
Some freaky regardless.
Native Americans don't be f***ing around.
You could have gave me the signal. Try it again.
They don't be f***ing around.
There you go.
Yeah. No, for real though. They know what's up, man.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with you next Wednesday. In the meantime, hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Eat lots of food, get full bellies, and
get fat and sassy.
If you see a sassy coyote, stay away from it.
Yeah, on hind legs. But if they're a normal coyote, just pet it. It'll be all right.
No, don't pet a coyote. Don't do that.
They're so cute.
Don't listen to Jessi. She'll get you killed. In the meantime, we'll catch you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And with the podcasting dead.